This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. First, the headlines. Police decorate 913 ASPs won against corruption. PDP's campaign coordinator defects to PDP. President Tinubu addresses world leaders September 19. Elon Musk to introduce video-audio calls on X. Gabon swears in Bright Ngueme as transitional president. Ruga releases new album, Rule the World, September. Haaland wins UEFA's Men Player Award. Us on the Global News tonight. Here is our bulletin in full. The River State Police Commissioner, Emeka Woyi, has decorated 913 Assistant Superintendent of Police ASPs newly promoted from inspector rank to ASP. CP Woyi, while decorating the ASPs, warned them to shun corruption or any other act that will be inimical to the image of the Nigerian police force. The Rivers State Police boss also advised the newly promoted officers to be professional in the discharge of their duty and in dealings with the public, urging them not to indulge themselves in civic matter. CP Emeka Woye thanked the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Gbetukun, and Chairman of Police Service Commission, Solomon Arase, for the recommendation and subsequent approval after recommendation. ASP Jacob Chidebere, who gave votes of thanks on behalf of the newly promoted ASPs, thanked IGP, Chairman Police Service Commission, and Commissioner of Police for finding them worthy of the promotion. The River State University Teaching Hospital says it has... The River State University Teaching Hospital says it has recorded 15 successful brain surgeries. The management of River State University Hospital said the achievements were recorded between May, after the institution was transformed from a secondary health provider to tertiary, and August this year. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network, a public affairs analyst, a veteran journalist, Obona Woke, applauds medical experts at the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital at the River State University Teaching Hospital for such a record-breaking milestone achieved.
Clearly, I believe that a foundation is being laid now. Recall that some years back, the same hospital was responsible for knee surgeries, and experts were flown in to come carry out those complicated surgeries. But one of the good things that has happened here is that the hospital has been elevated to a teaching hospital and put under the management of critical professionals, professors and all who... it makes me happy that we can carry out surgery that's related to... Clearly,
Honorable Bonawuke also cited important economic impact it will imprint on the national economy and also positively projecting the Nigerian medical sector globally, while urging both the state and federal government to provide necessary digital health facilities for more medical breakthrough.
The residence of the Nigerian doctor has never been in doubt. And no matter what we have said about the quality of education in Nigeria, it's always been something to be excited about each time people talk about Nigerian doctors, Nigerian nurses. And it shows that our medical schools are worth the while, that actually we're imparting knowledge. And that government too, give that to them, that they're helping to provide basic infrastructure, which are driven by IT these days. Because if you didn't have them, you can't do.
Vice State Coordinator of Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Council, Alagwa Morris, has defected from the Labour Party to the People's Democratic Party. Morris, an environmental rights activist, made the announcement on Thursday in Yenagoa ahead of the Bayelsa governorship election slated for November 11. He noted that Governor Doyediri had done so many good things, some of which are not in the public domain, hence his reason to totally support to his totally supports his re-election to continue in office. He added that the governor is already working with development partners and other stakeholders, therefore he should be allowed to continue. Court of Appeal has granted the Labour Party governorship candidate in Delta State, Ken Peller's approval to return to the Delta State Election Tribunal to continue his petition against Governor Sheriff Obrevri. Recall that the tribunal had dismissed Labour Party's petition against Governor Sheriff on the ground that he abandoned his pre-hearing. Not satisfied by the ruling, Pelle took the matter to the Court of Appeal in Abuja, where he contested the election tribunal's decision. With the appeal judgment, Ken Pelle will return to the tribunal panel sitting at Delta State to continue his case. Meanwhile, the victory at the Court of Appeal does not imply that Ken Pelle has been declared the winner of the March 28th gubernatorial election in the state. Recall that the Independent National Electoral Commission had announced that Obrevri won the governorship election with a total of 360,234 votes to defeat his closest opponent, Ovie Omoagege of the All Progressive Party, who scored 240,229 votes. Ken Pelle of the Labour Party came third with 48,027 votes, with Great Oboru of the All Progressive Grand Alliance fourth with 11,021 votes. A week ago, the three-man tribunal panel headed by Justice C.O. Achuhaogu reserved judgment on the petition by Omoagege against Governor Obrevri. Meanwhile, Delta State government has described as fake news report that an appeal court has sacked Governor Sheriff Obrevri. It said, contrary to reports, the appeal court sitting in Abuja did not overturn the election of Governor Obrevri as speculated by the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, Ken Pelle. Speaking out on the issue, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Sir Festus Ahon, said the appeal court only ordered that the tribunal hear the case. It said from the results declared by the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, it was obvious that the Labour Party did not win the election, therefore couldn't have won in court. The statement urged Deltans to remain calm as at the time of the fake news, Governor Obrevri was busy inspecting various ongoing projects within Asaba and its environs. He is focused on delivering dividends of democracy to the people of the state and would not be distracted by the rumor mills. You recall that the Court of Appeal in Abuja had ordered the Delta State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Asaba to revisit the petition of Mr. Ken Pelle, the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, against the state governor, Sheriff Obrevri. Akwa Ibom State government has announced the release of the sum of 1 billion naira to be added to the first tranche of palliatives it received from the federal government. According to a statement, the state governor announced the additional palliative package while addressing members of the government house press corps, and also announced that the sharing of the palliative to residents will begin on Monday, September 4th, 2023. He assured them that with the release of 1 billion naira to augment the 3,000 bags of rice and 2 billion naira so far received from the federal government, the over 2,270 villages in the state should get 50 bags of rice each. While responding to a question on the protest by some youths on Tuesday in the state, the governor noted that state government has gathered intelligence on some persons trying to disrupt the peace being enjoyed in the state by inciting the youths to cause a breach of law. He advised Akwa Ibom youths not to allow such people misguide them. Operatives of Quick Intervention Unit Akwa Ibom State Police Command have arrested one Sunday Michael Ben of Aka Itiam, a toy village in Uyo local government area, for allegedly defiling his 6-year-old daughter. This is contained in a statement made available to newsmen by the police public relations officer Odiko Magdan. The statement added that the police command, following a report, also apprehended one Bright Woke, 29, residing in Eket local government area for allegedly defiling a 10-year-old girl of same residence. According to the statement, Woke, who confessed to the crime, stated that He had earlier sent the junior brother to go and buy his recharge card before taking the victim to his room and recovered her mouth to prevent her from raising alarm. The statement further disclosed that on the 20th day of July 2023, at about 7 p.m., operatives of the Ukanafon division, relying on credible information, stormed a Kot Akpa Nkok community in Ukanafon local government area, arrested 3 suspected kidnappers. Police in Anambra State have arrested a 4-man gang of burglars who allegedly specialize in burgling commercial shops across the state. Spokesperson of Anambra State Police Command DSP Tochukwu Ikenga, who disclosed this, said operatives of the command acted on a tip-off to arrest the suspect. Ikenga listed the items to include two ladies' motorcycle, 2 big generators, 1 wheelbarrow, 1 deep freezer, 3 bags of rice, and 2 large iron cutters. A press release by Ikenga stated that the suspect confessed to have broken into a store at Nanka in Orumba, not local government area of Anambra State, to steal the recovered items. The Commissioner of Police, CP Aderemi Adeoye, who commended the newly posted DPO in Ogidi, CSP Uche Oyinaya, for hitting the ground running, having earlier arrested and recovered the Beretta pistol from a cultist, asked the personnel not to relent in their pursuit of the criminal element. He directed that the investigation be extended to Nanka to locate the owner of the store and motor licensing office for records of owners of the motorcycles with a view to returning the recovered items to the rightful owners on board, while suspects are to be arraigned in courts as soon as investigation is concluded. Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has handed checks totaling 150 million naira as gratuities to 64 retired local government workers and teachers. This came barely 3 months after the governor presented 130 million naira gratuity checks to another batch of retired local government workers and primary school teachers. While speaking at the event in Ado Ekiti on Thursday, the governor said, "It is important to place on record that since the inception of the administration in October 2022, it has paid a total of 605.9 million naira as gratuities to 189 retired local government workers and primary school teachers." The Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Chief Olorinsho Olabode, who thanked the governor for prioritizing senior citizens' well-being, urged the beneficiaries to make good use of the money. The chairman, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Elder Joel Akinola, appreciated the governor for being a promise keeper and someone who takes welfare of the elderly very serious. A quorum of councillors in the Ijebu East local government area of Ogun State has suspended the chairman of the LGA, Wale Adedayo, for 3 months on allegations of maladministration and financial mismanagement. Reacting to the development, Adedayo told a correspondent that it might be true, adding that policemen bombarded the LGA secretariat alongside some thugs on Thursday morning. This followed the invasion of the LGS secretary by over 100 mobile policemen on duty on Thursday morning, following an alleged move by the Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun to impeach Adedayo, who recently accused the governor of withholding federal government allocations meant for LGS within the state. 7 councillors of Fasheyi Adesuji, representing Itele Ward 7. Bolufe Oshunfisana, representing Emotion Ward 2, amongst others, said the LGS Legislative Council received various allegations that needed to be investigated and directed Adedayo to appear before council at its next sitting on Thursday, September 14, 2023. In a resolution signed by the 7 councillors, including the leader of the House, Fasheyi Adesuji, representing Itele Ward 7, 15 allegations were leveled against the suspended chairman. Ogun State Police Command revealed it has arrested one Pastor Taiwo Adebiyi for allegedly setting ablaze a 21-year-old lady identified as Saksukura Owoduni during the deliverance section. According to the command's spokesperson, Omolala Odutola, the incident happened at Cherubim and Seraphim Mabiru Parish, located in Ofin, Shagamu area of Ogun State. As on August 17, it was reliably gathered that the victim visited the church for a special prayer at the pastor's invitation. The pastor directed her to buy Amazing Grace perfume, local eggs, and a candle for the special prayer. While praying for her, the pastor was said to have poured the perfume on the lady's body and lit the candle. Immediately after the pastor lit the candle, Owoduni was said to have gone up in flames, causing serious burns to her chest, shoulder, and legs. It was gathered that the suspect was immediately arrested after the divisional police officer in Adigbe, CSP Abdul Fattah Ogunsaya, and his men stormed the church premises on Tuesday. Odutola added that the further investigation had commenced to unravel the circumstances surrounding the ugly incident. The Ogun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has lauded the World Health Organization, Federal Ministry of Health, an investigative team working on the Kangaroo Mother Care Project for low-weight babies for choosing the state among the 5 states that will benefit from the initiative. Adeleke spoke in Oshobo, the state capital, during an advocacy visit by the representatives of the World Health Organization, Federal Ministry of Health, and members of the investigative team working on the project. The governor, who was represented by the chairman of Osun State Hospital Management Board, Dr. Kola Akinroye, further said Kangaroo Mother Care Project would promote a healthy living, especially for the mothers and low-weight babies, adding that the implementation of the initiative would start from the state specialist, Asubiaro, and later move to State General Hospital Ede. The governor also quoted in a bulletin published by the Ministry of Information on Wednesday, further said, "We wish you, our guests, all the best, and we assure you of the greatest government's readiness to work with you, to work with the team, with the hope that more World Health Organizations programs will come to the state." While speaking earlier, the principal investigator, Professor Ebunoluwa Adejuyibe, after that, Kangaroo Mother, a method of holding a baby to the chest of the mother for skin-to-skin contact, has many benefits for babies, especially those born with low weight. National Union of Road Transport Workers has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to call the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Gbatukun, not to truncate the democratic process of the union. The national president at the union, Alhaji Tajuddin Baruwa, disclosed this at a press conference in Abuja over the illegal attack and invasion of its sectors by the Lagos State Parks and Management Committee. The union said the interference by the police and government in the internal affairs of a trade union did not only contradict the established legal processes for addressing industrial disputes in Nigeria as enshrined in the constitutional, but also portrays the Nigerian police force under the IGP's leadership as a violator of the very laws it is mandated to uphold. Baruwa queried the source of the IGP's authority to intervene in trade union matters, especially when neither the Nigerian police force nor the IGP holds the role of a legal arbitrator in industrial disputes.
We have all your records insurance companies are owing the National Housing Fund an unremitted amount of insurance companies into the National Housing Fund. Because this committee, we're looking at non-remittance and utilization. So the non-remittance of insurance companies alone, as of 2019, not even 2020, 2021, or 2022, about 54 of you, your non-remittance into the National Housing.
DC operation, Nuruddin Sambo, the man said that order from above that they should not assist us and maybe they take over the state council, our headquarters with talks. I don't know where order come from. Is it from presidency or from IG? So that's, and we don't want to take law in our hand. They cannot beat us. Minority cannot be majority. That's why we say that. That's why we call. That's why we call IG that issue. So that's why we cry to the NSC, who's our mother body, that they should assist us.
Bauchi State Police Command has vowed to unravel the circumstances leading to the murder of an 18-month-old boy, Mohammed Musa Abidin. The command said it has constituted an investigative committee headed by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of the state's Criminal Investigation Department, Yakubu Mohammed, to thoroughly investigate the murder of the little child. The state governor, Senator Bala Mohammed, ordered the immediate closure of the school on Wednesday, where Musa's corpse was found with some of his vital organs removed by suspected ritualists. An investigation carried out by the police revealed that the toddler was with his mother, Saudatu Abidin, age 21, of Bakin Kura Street in Bauchi Metropolis, when he went missing on August 19, 2023. A statement by this police spokesperson of the command, the Superintendent of Police, SP Ahmed Wakil, issued on Thursday, disclosed that the remains of the deceased were dumped at a soakaway situated at the Games Village area of Bauchi Metropolis by the suspected rituals. The CP said the command was already tracking those suspected to be responsible for the gruesome murder of this little girl, while promising to leave no stone unturned until the victim gets justice. Adamawa Emergency Management Agency has confirmed that no fewer than 5 persons have been swept away by flood in different parts of the country, of the state. The Executive Secretary of ADSEMA, Dr. Suleiman Mohammed, made the disclosure in an interview in Yola on Thursday. Mohammed said many homes are business premises in Furo, Yola South, and Mubi South local government areas had been affected by the flood. He advised residents of riverine communities in the state to be more vigilant following the recent closure of the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. The agency recently held a stakeholders meeting where it urged residents of the flood-prone communities to relocate to their safer places, he said. Mohammed said the sensitization campaigns concerning the flood were still ongoing across the 21 local government areas of the state. The ADSEMA boss expressed the commitment of the agency to effectively perform its role of managing emergency situations in the state. Nasarawa state government has ordered the activation of speedboats to evacuate residents living around riverine communities as part of measures to mitigate impact of impending flood. The directive is contained in a statement issued on Thursday in Lafia by Zachary Alumaga, Director General, Nasarawa State Emergency Management Agency. Cameroon had recently written to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs signifying the intention to open the floodgate of Lagdo Dam. The DG said the state government, in an effort to mitigate colossal impacts of the Lagdo Dam, directed activation of 5 speedboats given to flood-prone local government areas for the evacuation exercise. Alumoga enjoyed communities in the fringes of River Benue to temporarily vacate their homes and relocate in the coming days as precautionary measures to avert the loss of lives and property as recorded during the 2022 flood episode. He appealed to chairmen of local government areas, overseers of development areas, traditional religious leaders in the affected communities to prevail on their people to improve the higher grounds. The agency is appealing to the riverine communities to fetch from unwarranted sentiment of the ancestral home and take necessary steps to save their lives and loved ones as well as their property. The Federal Capital Territory Administration says it will conduct integrity tests on old buildings within the city to forestall building collapse. Mukhtar Galadima, Director Development Control, FCTA, stated this in Abuja while addressing newsmen on buildings in Jabi that failed integrity tests and may likely collapse. Galadima said the tests, which would be conducted in partnership with professional bodies and regulatory bodies and agencies, would be carried out in Wuse 1, Gaki 1, Gaki 2 and Asokoro. He said that the old houses that would be targeted for the exercise would be mainly those above 30 years. The director said that the measure became necessary following the unfortunate incident that happened in Gaki village, where a two-story building collapsed, killed 2 persons and injured 37 others. He urged people to comply with the building regulations as provided by relevant acts and laws. The Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike has disclosed that there is a garnishee ordered to the tune of $800 million against the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The order, according to the minister, is adversely affecting the FCT economy. Although he refused to provide details of the $800 million garnishee, Wike vowed to take very hard decisions to restore the economy. He threatened to take serious actions against personalities whose actions negatively impact the administration. While drawing attention to the impact of the order on the economy, Wike said the amount is enough to fund the FCT budget over 10 years. The minister, who briefed journalists at the premises of the FCTA, noted that the situation was so bad that the economy could be described as dead. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after the break. on Atlantic Television Network. Here is the rest of our stories. Federal government says it would eradicate neglected tropical diseases by 2027. Deputy Director and Program Manager, National Trachoma Elimination Program, Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Nicholas Olobio, said this at the ongoing two-day National Trachoma Quarterly Review meeting in Abuja. NTDs are a diverse group of 20 conditions that are mainly prevalent in tropical areas where they affect more than 1 billion people who live in impoverished communities. These diseases are neglected because they are almost absent from the global health agenda, receive little funding, and are associated with stigma and social exclusion. Nigeria carries around 25% of Africa entities burden, making it one of the most endemic countries in the world for these debilitating conditions. Oloboy noted that the states are working in partnership with the local government areas to implement strategies and guidelines and carry out activities towards the elimination of NTDs. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo has directed all international airlines to vacate the Murtala Mohammed International Airport from October 1st, 2023. This became necessary, according to him, to give room for total maintenance work at the airport. The minister disclosed this during a tour at the international airport in Lagos, where he was accompanied by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Mr. Kabir Yusuf Mohammed. The minister, while speaking at the sideline of the airport tour, directed the airlines and companies operating the airport to move to the new terminal, MMIA Terminal 2, constructed by the Chinese company. Keyamo also suspended all contract projects concessions in the sector until further notice. Over 100 concerned Nigerians have signed a petition demanding justice and transparency in the ongoing presidential electoral tribunal proceedings. The move comes amidst growing concerns over alleged electoral malpractices during the February 25th presidential election, which brought the legitimacy of the results into question. The petition, initiated by the Coalition of Concerned Nigerians and addressed to several justices, highlights the frustrations and anxieties felt by a significant portion of the electorate. Furthermore, the petition calls on the justices to prioritize the welfare and the interests of Nigeria and its people above all else, and to be mindful of the international community's opinions and commentaries on the election while adjudicating based on the evidence presented before the tribunal. House of Representatives ad hoc committee on the utilization of the ecological funds released to the Great Green Wall project has queried the diversion of the funds to other unconnected projects. This discovery was unraveled at the maiden hearing by the committee in Abuja. The ad hoc committee was constituted following the resolution plenary by the House on the need to investigate the utilization of the ecological funds released to the Great Green Wall from 2015 to date. The Speaker of the House, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, represented by Honorable Dixon Taki from Benue State, emphasized the importance of the funds, which is to ensure that the impact of climate change does not affect Nigeria's ecosystem.
We have all your records. The insurance companies are owing the National Housing Fund an unremitted amount of insurance companies into the National Housing Fund. Because this committee, we're looking at non-remittance and utilization. So the non-remittance of insurance companies alone, as of 2019, not even 2020, 2021, or 2022, about 54 of you.
The objectives of this investigative hearing are gather data to ensure the program is optimally implemented, identify challenges affecting the execution of the project, to expose corruption, and to guide the new administration in continued implementation of this policy which is crucial to both the well-being and security of our nation. Furthermore, this hearing fulfills the parliamentary responsibility to oversee the expenditure of public funds and expectations, and expenditures are in line with the set-down rules and public interest. The objectives...
Chairman of the ad hoc committee stated that the aim of the committee is to ensure that money voted for the fund was not underutilized or mismanaged.
The persistence of these challenges, despite funds put into the program from the both federal government and international partners, has necessitated this investigation. As a committee, our assignment is to investigate and make appropriate recommendations to the House for a resolution. And we will do just that. This hearing is to provide fair hearings to all parties and for all issues affecting a successful implementation of the project.
However, the committee, in the course of its investigation, discovered the diversion of monies by the Great Green Wall Agency, which the committee condemned. Members queried why the Great Green Wall Agency did not stick to its core mandate of planting trees to deal with the desert encroachment of the affected 11 frontline states by providing seedlings and digging of boreholes, as well as any other ecological disasters, but embarked on projects that connected it to its core mandate. The Director General, Dr. Yusuf Bukar, who had earlier stated to the committee that the agency was engaging in sharing of food items, providing motorcycles in some parts of the northern region, says the agency had since realized its mistakes and promised to stick to its core mandate.
But even from what you have told us, you have your core mandates, which should be how to give us about 25 million trees. But outside of your mandate, you have to enlighten my father in the village, which is not your mandate. Outside of your mandate, you have to create for yourself what you call livelihood. It's outside of your mandate. So I will take it that you have a mandate which is global, and you chose to sit down in your office and you took the easy way out, and you put up something that you call a work plan.
The reporting system is that when the agency draws up program proposals of activities for implementation based on the EFO resource support, it is usually submitted to the Honorable Minister of Environment for onward transmission to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation for approval. The agency ensures that it strictly complies in line with government's policies and achieving value for money.
The committee, however, demanded the agency to come with vital documents that will aid its investigation. The committee will return on Tuesday for further probe into the agency's activities to enable it to submit its report to the House during plenary for further legislative action. House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating non-remittance to the National Housing Fund and utilization of the funds from 2011 has summoned the chief executive officers of insurance companies over 267 billion investment fund debt and violation of the National Housing Fund Act. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Dachong Bagos, issued the summons following failure of the chief executives to appear before the committee to explain reasons for the unremitted funds. Honorable Bagos insisted that the insurance companies must come and explain why they are still owing 267 billion naira workers' investment to the National Housing Fund in 2019. He also added that the National Insurance Commission must appear before the committee to show proof of insurance companies who are in default of remitting workers' investment to Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. The committee said the issue of non-remittance of workers' contributions must not be seen as a joke, as CEOs should be held accountable.
An unremitted amount of insurance companies into the National Housing Funds. Because this committee, we are looking at non-remittance and utilization. So the non-remittance of insurance companies alone, as of 2019, not even 2020, 2021, or 2022, about 54 of you, your non-remittance into the National Housing Funds is over 267 billion naira. The records are there. All of you. So if you have contravened the act, this is a question we are going to ask Federal Mortgage Bank. Have you sent this demand notice? Federal Mortgage Bank, you have to tell us, have you sent the demand notice to demand for these monies? How many have complied? NICOM, those that have contravened this law, how many have you deregistered?
President Bola Tinubu will address the 78th section of the high-level general debate of the United Nations General Assembly at United Nations headquarters in New York on Tuesday, September 19. According to reports, Tinubu, in his first outing to the Assembly, will be addressing world leaders in the evening of that day. The Nigerian president would be the fifth African leader to speak on day one of the gathering, according to the speakers list from the Office of the General Assembly President. According to the list, Tinubu will be the 14th speaker out of the 20 leaders slated to speak on the first day. The South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, the 10th speaker, will be the first African leader to speak in the morning section of the Assembly. In the afternoon section, 5 African leaders are expected to address the gathering. The Nigerian president would deliver his statement around 6 p.m. 11 p.m. Nigerian time. To world leaders during the afternoon section, the president of Algeria, Abdelmajid Tebboune, will be the first African leader to speak at the afternoon section, followed by the Moroccan leader, Aziz Akanoch, and the Mozambique president, Philippe Nyusi. The president of Senegal, Macky Sall, will be the fifth African speaker to address the gathering and the last leader of the first day. The president of Brazil, Luiz da Silva, will be the first world leader to present his address to the 78th section, as is a tradition, followed by the U.S. President Joe Biden, the traditional second speaker, being the host country. The 78th section of the UN General Assembly on GAS 78 will open on Tuesday, September 5, with the inauguration of a new president, Dennis Francis of Trinidad and Tobago, who will take on the mantle for the next 12 months. The theme of the General Assembly, including the general debate, will be rebuilding trust and reigning global solidarity, accelerating action on the 2030 agenda and its sustainable development goals towards peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all. And here is the business news for tonight. National Identity Management Commission has only been able to meet 47.6% of the federal government's monthly target of 2.5 million registrations in the first 8 months of the year. This is as the number of Nigerians with national identification numbers increased to 102.39 million in August, despite a slowdown in the number of enrollments. According to the National NIMC data, enrollment has fallen by 35.14% year-on-year in the first 8 months of the year, as only 8.36 million as of August 28, 2023 people have enrolled for national identification numbers so far this year, from 12.89 million people that had enrolled as of July 7, 2022. Mean enrollment per month on average is 1.19 million per month in the first 8 months of 2023. The data indicated that the country is falling short of its 2.5 million national identification number enrollment target per month as set in the National Development Plan 2021-2025. The federal government, through the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, has been charged to provide more incentives for young farmers, as well as provide an enabling environment for them to thrive in their agribusiness venture. The Chief Operating Officer, UTIA, the Resource Omoyele, Omonira made the appeal yesterday in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, during the official launch of a platform Farm Link Up at the Lebu office of the organization. Omoyele, an agroeconomist from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Leife, addressed the newly sworn-in Minister of Agriculture and Food Security to carry the youth along in his programs. Omoyele explained that the Farm Link platform has been created as a hub or marketplace for farmers where they can link up or project their farm produce or services in the world. He called on those providing logistic services to also come on board the market space and take advantage of the platform, which he said would help break the chain of those monopolizing the market space and gives young people access to market farm produce on a single platform. He said discussions are ongoing to go into partnership with farmers associations with both in Ibadan and Lagos State. House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating non-remittance to the National Housing Fund and utilization of funds from 2011 till date has warned that banks' chief executive officers who failed to honor its invitation will risk being subpoenaed. The committee also consequently gave the defaulting banks a Thursday next week to appear with all the required information. It also insisted that the Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Luatoyin Madain, and the Acting Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Folashadin Shonubi, must appear in person on Thursday. Chairman of the ad hoc committee, Honorable Dachang Musa Bagos, who disclosed this at the Thursday sitting of the committee, frowned at the attitude of the CEOs, who always pretend to travel out the country whenever they are invited to give evidence to the patients. He warned that in as much as the committee would want to give fair hearing to every stakeholder, it would not hesitate to invoke the provisions of the law against anyone that attempts to undermine its authority or sabotage the investigation. Elon Musk has announced a step towards turning the former Twitter into Everything app says that the social media platform X will begin offering video and audio calling. Musk wrote in a post on the platform that video and audio calls coming to X without specifying when the new features would be available. The calling features would work on iOS, Android, Mac, and PC systems, and no phone number will be needed. Last month, Musk and his newly hired chief executive Linda Yaccarino announced the rebranding of Twitter as X, saying it would become an everything app inspired by China's WeChat that would allow users to socialize as well as handle their finances. X payment branch Twitter Payments LLC was granted a crucial currency transmitter license from the U.S. state of Rhode Island on Monday, allowing it to engage in cryptocurrency-related activities such as exchanges, wallets, and payment processors. The license allows X to secure, store, transfer, and facilitate the exchange of digital assets on behalf of its user, according to Cottonwire. Since Musk bought Twitter last October, the platform's advertising business has collapsed as marketers soared on his management style mass firings that gutted content moderation. And there is the international news tonight. Gabon's new strongman General Brice Oligui Nguema will be sworn in as transitional president on Monday at the Constitutional Court. According to coup leaders, said Oligui will face in transitional institutions. Ulrich Mafombi, spokesman for the Committee for the Transition and Restoration of Institutions, says no details were given on the duration of the transitional institutions. The announcement said all general secretaries, ministerial offices, director generals, and officials of state services have been instructed to ensure the immediate future, the effective resumption of work and community of the functioning of all public services. The army chiefs pledged that Gabon will also respect all its commitments at home and abroad. Meanwhile, African Union's And Security Council said it had decided to immediately suspect Gabon following the military coup this week. The body said on X, formerly Twitter, that it strongly consigns the military takeover of power in the Republic of Gabon, which ousted President Ali Bongo on August 30, 2023. Niger's ruling junta has ordered police to expel France's ambassador, a move marking a further downturn in relations. The coup leaders are following the strategy of juntas in neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso in distancing themselves from the region's former colonial power amid a wave of anti-French sentiment. The visas of French ambassador Soname Sylvain Ite and his family have been cancelled, and police are instructed to expel the envoy. Instigators of the coup, condemned by regional African authorities and by Western nations last Friday, ordered Ite to leave the country within 48 hours in response to what they called actions by France, contrary to the interests of Niger. It said these included the envoy's refusal to respond to an invitation to meet Niger's new foreign minister. France has called for the return of ousted President Mohamed Bazoum to office and said it would support effort by West African regional bloc ECOWAS to overturn the coup. Meanwhile, the French Foreign Ministry said on Thursday the coup leader did not have the authority to ask the ambassador to leave. Meanwhile, Cameroon and Rwanda have rejigged military architecture in what was seen as a reaction to the military coup that overthrew President Ali Bongo from power in Gabon. The coup, which took place on Tuesday night, shocked the world and forced many nations, including the United Nations and the African Union, to condemn the actions of the military. The coup in Gabon was the latest in a series of military coups that have seen democratically elected leaders removed from the seat of power in Niger Republic, Mali, Sudan, Burkina Faso, and Guinea-Bissau. According to reports, President Kagame has approved the retirement of several RDF generals, including the Senior Presidential Advisor on Security Matters, General James Kabarebe. Also in Cameroon, President Paul Biya, who has been in power since 1975, to help prevent his country from being on the coup list, decided to reshuffle the military with new appointments. An official document coming from the president himself made its way to Twitter. A house fire that engulfed a 5-story building has killed more than 70 people, including children, in central Johannesburg. The South African Emergency Services disclosed this on Thursday, noting that another 52 were injured in what is on track to become one of the deadliest fires worldwide in recent years. An official said bodies were discovered piled up at a closed security gate, preventing people from escaping the blaze. City authorities said affected buildings in a deprived, crime-ridden area had been turned into illegal housing after being abandoned. Accordingly, it stated that most of those living there were foreigners, one resident said. Investigators say 6 Ukrainian soldiers were killed when 2 military helicopters crashed on a combat mission in the country's east. The crashes took place Tuesday in the Kramatorsk district of the eastern Donetsk region. The State Bureau of Investigation did not give details on what happened. The SBI in a statement said 2 Mi-8 military helicopters crashed during a combat mission. 6 servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine died. It said a pre-trial investigation by the Security Intelligence Service would provisionally focus on possible safety breaches during or in preparation for the flight, which would be classed as a criminal offense. The probe will also look into possible sabotage or destruction of the helicopters by the enemy. Mi-8 military helicopters are being used by Ukraine in combat missions, although the Soviet-designed aircrafts are generally used for transport. Each helicopter has a crew of 3. Former U.S. President Donald Trump pleaded not guilty to charges that he led a criminal conspiracy to overturn his 2020 election loss in the southern state of Georgia. The Republican presidential front-runner, who faces 13 felony counts, including racketeering, and entered his plea in a court filing filing waiving his right to appear at an arraignment scheduled for Wednesday next week. Trump surrendered to the county jail in Atlanta last week and was the first former U.S. president pictured in a police mugshot. Released on a $200,000 bond and given the inmate number by the Fulton County Jail, Trump was accused of colluding with 18 other defendants in a multi-pronged attempt to overturn his defeat in Georgia to Joe Biden. The billionaire has been criminally indicted 4 times since April, setting the stage for a year of unprecedented drama as he tries to juggle multiple court appearances and another White House campaign. Trump's arrest in Georgia came a day after he spawned a televised debate in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, featuring 8 of his rivals for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, all of whom lag well behind him in the polls. And here is entertainment news for tonight. Nigeria superstar Ruga speaks on his upcoming debut album, Rule the World. Since breaking into the scene in 2020 with his debut EP, Pandemic, Ruga has made a name for himself as one of the superstars shaping Nigerian mainstream music. Ahead of his upcoming debut album, Ruga released the hit single Asiwaju, which he followed up with captivating records Jonesy, Boy and Christy. The talented genre bender is set to release his debut album Rule the World on September 1, 2023. In an interview, Ruga shares his motivations, what keeps him grounded, and what to do and what to expect from his upcoming album. Ruga was discovered by the Prince, who signed him to his Johnson World label and under whose mentorship he has become a music star. According to Ruga, the Prince is a genius whose special powers is discovering talent who have the potential to become a star. Remains of actor John Dumelo's mother, Veronica Amapoma Dumelo, will be laid to rest on Saturday, October 7, after the funeral service. On Tuesday, August 29, 2023, a one-week observation was held to her memory at the Holy Spirit Cathedral at Dabaraka in Accra. The program was attended by several showbiz personalities, friends and family. Among them were Yvonne Nelson, Bola Ray, Shoraya Mensa. Madam Veronica died Tuesday, August 15, 2023, at age 71. The Ghanaian actor took to social media to confirm the heartbreaking news of the passing of Antonio Dumelo, his mother. John Dumelo's mother was a retired customs officer. The cause of her death is not yet known. And here is the sports news for tonight. As part of his ongoing efforts to assess the state of major sports facilities in the country, Minister of Sports Development Senator John Owan Eno inspected the National Stadium Surulere, Lagos. Senator Eno started his inspection from the stadium complex where he visited the National Institute of Sports, the boxing complex, main ball of the Stadium Sports Medical Center, indoor sports hall, and other facilities. He also inspected the Games Village Hostel's Legacy Pitch Powerhouse, as well as the courts of 4 different sports. During his briefing at the stadium, John Eno said his facility, built around the 1960s, has been put to use functionally, including during the second All-African Games in 1973. It has gone through a lot. The minister stated that he will do all it takes to bring back the glory of the facility, which was once the pride of Africa, and thanked private partners like Alhaji Dangote and Chief Cassington Adebutu for their contributions towards sports development in the country. He said Nigeria remain appreciative of their investment in uplifting sports facilities in the country. Nigeria Football Federation has reportedly handed Super Eagles head coach Jose Pizarro a 3-day ultimatum to accept a pay cut and renew his contract. According to the NFF Technical Committee, the Portuguese manager will bid farewell to his job if he fails to make a decision within 3 days. Chairman of the Technical Committee, Sheriff Rabiu Inuwa, hinted that the NFF will appoint a caretaker coach to take charge of the Super Eagles 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sao Tome and Principe next month, and then start the search for a substantive head coach afterward if Pizarro refused to accept a pay cut and renew his contract. Becerra's previous contract expired at the end of last month, and he has expressed his desire to lead the Super Eagles to the 2023 AFCON finals in Cote d'Ivoire. The former Venezuela and the Saudi Arabia coach is, however, not willing to accept a reduction on his $70,000 salary. Becerra became the coach of the Super Eagles in May 2022. Manchester City forward Erling Haaland has been named UEFA's main player of the year for the 2022-2023 season. The Belgian urged teammate Kevin De Bruyne and Inter Milan star Lionel Messi to the award. Norwegian joined the citizens at the start of last season from Borussia Dortmund. The 22-year-old was instrumental to Manchester City's success in the Champions League as they defeated their Inter Milan 1-0 win to win the trophy for the first time in their history. Haaland scored 11 goals in 12 games for Manchester City last season, winning the highest goal scorer award. In the competition, he has scored 35 goals in just 30 appearances and is currently 19th in the list of all-time Champions League scorers. Manchester City coach Pep Guardiola has won the UEFA Champions League Coach of the Year for the 2022-2023 season. Bayern Munich have been drawn with Manchester United in Group A of the 2023-2024 Champions League season. The third team in the group is FC Copenhagen of Denmark, and then we'll be joined by Galatasaray in the group. The draw for the group stage of the season's UEFA Champions League was made at a ceremony in Monaco on Thursday. Meanwhile, UEFA has ruled that Saudi Arabian clubs cannot participate in any of its competitions. This puts an end to the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar Jr., Sadio Mane, and others playing again in either the Champions League or Europa League while plying their trade in the Middle East country. Barcelona have given Ansu Fati permission to undergo a medical at Brighton. The 20-year-old was also wanted by Chelsea and Tottenham, but he decided to join the Seagulls. The Spain international will spend the whole of the season at the Premier League club. This is no obligation to buy included. There is no obligation to buy included in the deal as Roberto De Zerbi's side close in on their next signing. The attacker has been dubbed as one of the future stars in world football. Fati scored 10 goals in 51 appearances for Barcelona last season. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, here is another look at the major stories. Police decorate 931 ASPs, won against corruption. Peter Obi's campaign coordinator defects to PDP. President Tinubu addresses world leaders September 19. Elon Musk to introduce video audio calls on X. Gabon swears in Bryce Ngoeme as transitional president on Monday. Ruga releases new album Rule the World September. Haaland wins UEFA's Men's Player Award. I'm Vivian Douglas. Thank you for joining us. You can follow us on our social media platforms. On Twitter, we're Atlantic TV Net. On Facebook and YouTube, our Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. Do remember that peace and unity remain